I don't want to hear about this. I want to stop the conversation.
What do you want him to say and do?
I want him to open up the conversation.
And say what?
Which is what he is
and
doing.
Say what?
So he needs to open that conversation not only in this country.
So you keep saying, and
not
say
only
what?
in this country, but also in the countries that have been impacted by colonialism.
Sorry,
in their history.
I am asking.
And
I'm sounding a bit robotic. Let's just start again.
Because
what would you like him to say and do?
You better answer the fucking question.
I would like.
What's this conversation you want?
I would like him actually, first of all, to listen.
To what?
Listen to what is being said.
What don't you think he knows about the history of his country?
I don't know.
Is that not what he did?
So you want a conversation, but you've no idea what it's going to be about?
I don't know what he knows. Isn't that the point?
But the whole point is he can't say what you really want him to say, which is sorry.
Are you serious?
Because he's a head of state and he's a representative, and unless the government gifts him that power to say sorry, he actually can't say it.
Hence, we're
a constitutional monarchy.
Yes.
But it's all just measly, pointless words.
No.
To who?
You make your money with measly, pointless words.
How is he going to... Sorry, explain to me. How is this going to change the lives of a single person today? The king of his country is saying that hundreds of years ago, something we knew existed, an evil called slavery, was terrible. And by the way, not just here, all around the world. And there were black slave owners too, right? I don't see anyone demanding apologies from their ancestors, right? And everyone knows it's evil. Everyone knows it was terrible. Everyone knows the British Empire was...
Stop it.
Europeans
also great in many ways too.
During the slave
Here's my
industry.
point.
We know that as well.
How does it help anybody today? To have people grovelling and apologising and saying, here's some money.
Who's asking?
What's he going to do with the people today?
Are you serious?
I don't think there are any dignitaries asking for grovelling apologies. I don't think there are any people who are still...
You don't seem to know what you want.
Who are still impacted today by the effects of colonialism, asking for grovelling...
What do you want Charles to do?
You better answer the fucking question.
Grovelling apologies.
I keep asking you, I haven't got an answer.
And you talk about history of 100 years, but you know that reparations
you want King Charles to do and say something, but you've no idea what it is.
I want him to have a cup of tea with Prince Harry.
You want
Are you serious?
conversation with him.
What do you want?
What do you want? A cup of tea, a sandwich? What do you want?
A cup of tea with Prince Harry.
You
That's what I
literally can't
wanted.
answer me.
You can have a truth and reconciliation. You could have a truth and
Fine, I'm
reconciliation.
going to ask you one more time. I'll give you one more chance.
Do you know what a truth and reconciliation is?
I do.
Piers?
What do you want?
Surprise, motherfucker.
Then let's hold a truth and reconciliation.
What do you want him to say?
Let's hold a truth and reconciliation. Let's start the process of listening. And from that listening process, then we will hear what he has to say.
Yeah, boy.
Could maybe apply to his own family as well.
He could put some money out. He could sell a couple of
You've
papers.
literally, Paula, with great respect, you've literally just spent 10 minutes saying absolutely nothing.
I mean, haven't. It's because
and then you suddenly remember truth and reconciliation. That gets me off the rap. I haven't got to say what I actually want or him to do.
2015, we finished paying slave owners. We finished compensating slave owners in 2015. Woo! Not hundreds of years ago. I'm uncomfortable about that. Let's have this truth and reconciliation. Let's talk about reparation.
Okay, go to Kinsley for the final word, because America's ahead of us on this, of course. So places like San Francisco, they want to give millions and millions of dollars to everybody who ever had an ancestor who was involved in slavery, which seems to me completely ridiculous. What's your view?
I was just sitting here thinking, why?
Wait for it.
Why is the advice? Let's just look forward. Let's move forward when it's Harry and Meghan, and we're talking about their past discretions. But when it's something like this,
bingo.
I understand.
Bingo.
I understand what
yes.
Pierce is saying. But
all look forward for Meghan and Harry, leave all the nasty stuff behind us, but with the rest of them, back we go, as long as it takes to have a stick to beat them with.
But it's not comparing like with like, because one are an institution of state and they represent Britain and our history for better or for worse, and the other are a pair who tripped off into the sunset with a couple of tiaras and some titles.
Why?
Not like
I have always.
Why would King Charles saying,
advocated.
I'm really sorry and here's some money, make any difference to people today? They had nothing to do with the slavery years because they're not 300 years old.
I've always advocated for reconciliation.
Are you serious?
For Harry, for King Charles and for William. Always advocated that in the same way that I advocate the reconciliation.
You want to have a
the
conversation, but you
Commonwealth.
have no idea what it's going to be about. other than it's going to make
Let's
you feel...
open the floor.
It's apparently going to make...
Let's open the floor.
It's going to... And I want a reconciliation conversation with the Vikings and with the Romans, right? I want Nordic
Did you
leaders
finish paying
grovelling and apologising. I want
Did
Italian prime ministers
to them in
recompensing me for
Here it comes.
the land my ancestors lost in the north of England from the rampaging Romans.
Did you finish paying compensation to them in 2015?
Did I?
Yes.
What have I got to do with it?
I did. I was a taxpayer.
I know you think otherwise.
Nice.
Had nothing to do with slavery.
We were all taxpayers and we paid.
I had nothing to do with slavery, Paula.
But yet you paid compensation to the
slave owners. And by the way,
owners.
nor did you.
But I paid compensation to the slave owners.
Okay, I'm going to end this with
I didn't have a choice in
I want to end on a happy note. I've worked out why Charles is so red. Can we look at the picture again? He's an Arsenal fan, right? And obviously, if we win on Sunday and Manchester City lose, we become Premier League champions, first time in 20 years. It is a nod to Arsenal Football Club. God bless you, Your Majesty. Thank you. I've got to leave it there.
And
Thank
we
you,
do
Kinsey,
wish him well. We definitely
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Tessa.
The schools that she went to were very eclectic and diverse. And that was great. But that being said, if you look at who she married and surrounded herself with, I don't feel that she has license to play the race card. Personal opinion.
Indeed. So, Peter, back to the case. Are you confident that now this Democratic judge is out the way, who seemed to me to be completely in Meghan's camp for political reasons? Do you feel more confident now that it's in the appeal court?
Feel I'm going to get a fair
Very good question.
shake. Now, I don't want to say that this judge acted out of bias,
No.
just because she was appointed by...
No, you can't say that. I
Barack
can say
Hussein
that.
Obama. There are appointees on the bench that were appointed by Obama who are just wonderful, fair judges, and so to smear her with an unfair brush and saying that this is what motivated her to make the decision she made, I can't say that in all fairness. I can say,
wait for it.
It may. But now I'm going to be in front of a panel of 3 judges in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. And it's very possible that I'm going to get 3 more Democrat judges.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Or I'm going to get 3 Republican judges, or I'm going to get a mix in most likelihood, at the greatest likelihood. And I think that these judges are at that point, these are...
Wait for it.
learned men and women who have achieved an epitome of success. Okay, to be a judge on a court that's just below the level of the Supreme Court of the United States, you've got to be somebody. And as long, I don't know who's been appointed in the last 3.5 years. The Biden appointees, I've seen some of them worry me. Some of them are probably great. But the fact of the matter is that I think we'll have a fair shot going forward, and we'll see what happens. I just hope.
Stop it.
And will Meghan Markle have to take the stand?
Not in the appeal. The appeal is based entirely on the record of what was said, and this was the dismissal of a complaint that is deemed to be true on all of the allegations in it. And we've got all of these things that were said, and either the Court of Appeal is going to do what our trial court judge did, and do what the defense wanted, what Meghan Markle wanted, and look at each one individually. I mean, even, if we were to take every word that I'm saying here today individually, it doesn't mean anything. It's when you combine words and you combine thoughts. I mean, that's, you know, thoughts are basically, how do we think? We think in terms of concepts. Okay.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
If you want to think of a cup of tea, that's a concept. And we have words that make that up. And the most dangerous part of Meghan Markle isn't what Meghan Markle has done to her sister and her father.
Fact.
And the royal family, for goodness sakes. The most horrific part of Meghan Markle is what would possibly come about in the event that the globalists
that doesn't make sense.
should walk away with this election like they did the last one. Because quite frankly, that would probably put her in a position of some power.
Yeah.
Which
well,
is
she wants political power, doesn't she?
Very good question.
Yes, that's what she longs for. You know, these folk don't get it wrong. I mean, you know, here they are, the worst offenders that I've ever seen in terms of being able to destroy somebody on the internet because they've got the Sussex Squad, which you have personal.
I know all about
it. But, oh my God, they are absolutely horrendous, and
you serious?
You have them basically controlling the worst abuse on the internet as they go around pretending that what they want to do is stop all kinds of activity.
And they have never once called out the Sussex Squad. Never once. They have never once said, do not troll in our name. In fact, the honorary leader of the Sussex Squad, the bloke who you mentioned, Christopher Boozy, was actually given the big platform on their Netflix show. And Sam, look, Peter's talking about this from a legal perspective, but from a personal perspective, I know this has caused you a huge amount of pain, hasn't it? You feel like Meghan did all she could to degrade you, to discredit you,
You better answer the fucking question.
effectively ruin your future earning opportunities, and it's taken a huge toll.
Exactly. More than 5-6 years of my life. I mean, there was a point when I couldn't go out of the house because people were reading tabloids that were driven by paid PR, making me out to look like a monster. And so my reputation as a mental health counselor, my degree, my personal friendships, neighborhoods, so any social activity, I became really reclusive because people would judge me. And I heard whisperings from next door neighbors based on what they heard, you know, and it was really a difficult way to live because of social labels that were driven by, in my opinion, a corrupt agenda, malicious and paid. And I didn't have the power to fight that. So it felt like no matter what I say, nobody is going to listen to me because all they see is, you know, everything that's going out on, you know, up in the ether in cyberspace, where all the money's floating around and where the control really happens.
Are you serious?
And it was very real, you know, it reminded me of the Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. There was somebody behind the curtain creating the big cloud of smoke that was overwhelming. And that's all people really saw. And that's what
and it took such a toll on you. And I always need to remind people, because for some reason at the moment, there is a particularly vicious streak out there of nastiness towards the Markle family online. And I really have to stress to everyone that I have known Samantha now since before the wedding. And everything that Samantha warned of,
wait for it,
has come true. So actually, if the royal family had listened to Samantha, if Harry had listened to Samantha, they would have known what was coming. And this particularly vicious streak online at the moment towards the Markle family really has to stop, because it is based on lies. You're buying into a Sussex Squad narrative, and it is really, really bad. So I just wanted to say that. Peter, can I just ask you a little bit? I mean, look, for people who don't know, we obviously discussed it in our last... Oh, sorry, you come in, Peter.
Yeah, I just want to comment. You know, what Samantha didn't stress are all the death threats and the fact that it ruined her profession. She's a counselor that can no longer counsel. So her career is destroyed, her safety is at risk, and there's a lot to be said about these, because these death threats aren't just little things. They're very realistic and very.
Wait for it.
I get that. No, they very much are. Now, Peter, can I just talk a little bit about the political situation? Because some people will not know if they didn't watch our previous interview, which I do recommend people check out on my YouTube page. But you are obviously close friends. Are
you serious?
With Donald Trump. You guys go way back. And you talk about the threat of the globalists winning the election in the US, which is obviously a real concern. But can we just have hope for a moment that Trump wins?
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
What happens then to Harry and Meghan? Is Harry's citizenship under threat because he admitted to illegal drug use in his autobiography Spare, for example? Because Trump, in the last few months, has not ruled out potentially deporting Harry.
Right. I know about it. I've never discussed this with Donald Trump. When I talk with Donald Trump,
Are you serious?
talk about what Donald Trump wants to talk about.
Yes.
I don't decide to change the agenda to what I want to talk about, because I'm just privileged to be able to speak to him from time to time.